Hey, what's up? John Sonnemus here. So I got a question that I'm going to answer today on how do I handle things I don't know. So this question is from Raymond. He says, "Hey John, I got a question. I'm convinced that I'm convinced that I am working in an unpleasant work environment. I was hired at my IT/customer service position a year ago with no proper training, and a year later I am still struggling to keep up with tons of information. I support over 6 gigantic systems, and I am often asked questions that I don't have an answer to. So my only method is to try my hand at answering and make myself look like an idiot. Any suggestions would help. Thanks." So here's the thing, Raymond. It's real simple. If you don't know something, okay, so let me put it this way. If you don't know something, it's your job to find out the answer, not to bullshit the answer, right? And look like an idiot, like you said. When you say stuff that you don't know about, then you tend to look like an idiot. But when you research something and you find a good answer, then you look like a genius. So I'll tell you something else here. You cannot expect, now, a good employer is probably going to provide some training for their employees. It makes sense to provide training for employees if you want them to perform well. But you can't expect that, right? Because here's the thing, right? You can live your life in such a way that you feel like as long as everything is arranged for you and people do what they're supposed to do, your life will go well. And that's a really precarious way to live your life, because the thing is that only one person fucking it up can fuck it all up. You see what I'm saying, right? It's not great, okay? But instead, you can live your life in such a way that you say, you know what? It doesn't matter what someone else does or what the external environment is. Whatever happens, whatever hand I'm dealt, whatever situation I'm in, I got to figure it's all about me. It's 100% my responsibility to figure out my way out of it, how I'm going to survive, what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to thrive in this environment. And see, that way of living your life is a lot more beneficial because, yes, you can still benefit from people paving the way for you. But if they don't, then the onus is on you. Then you have responsibility. You have power. You're empowered in that situation as opposed to being powerless dependent on other people because you're self-reliant, right? As what Ralph Waldo Emerson would say. Read some Ralph Waldo Emerson. Read his essay on self-reliance, okay? Now, the reason why that's important in this particular situation is because, yes, I can go on all day long and say your employer should have prepared you better. They should have given you training. But that's not going to help you. Instead, it's going to help you more to say, what the fuck are you doing? You need to learn this stuff and figure this stuff out, right? I've been in plenty of jobs where I have stayed after hours not being paid just to learn some stuff, just to get additional training. I've done some of it on the job, but when I couldn't, when I was having too much work and I didn't know about systems and whatnot, I spent hours going through the source code or I spent hours going through documentation or interviewing people at different positions in the company and saying, hey, explain to me how this shit works. I need to understand this, right? I need to understand this, and going out and finding and making my own training, okay? And then I went and trained other employees and taught them what I know, right? In fact, to some degree, this is what I'm doing now, right? These YouTube videos, this channel, this is all about me. I've read thousands of books, okay? I gathered information. I found the stuff I need to know in life in order to build my business, in order to invest in real estate, in order to build my body, in order to do these things. No one put it into my lap, and no one said, hey, John, here you go. This is what you need to do. Follow this shit, right? Instead, I found this stuff, found my own training, and then I'm disseminating that to you as best as I can over these videos and giving you some of that benefit of that, okay? But you need to be responsible for your own education, your own training. So what you need to do is you need to go into your work and you need to figure out what is it that you need to learn. And it can be overwhelming, but when someone asks you a question, okay, this is your strategy from now on when someone asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, that you should know the answer to, or that's your job to know the answer to, is that you say, that's a very good question. I do not know the answer right now, but I will find out and I will get back to you. Okay? And then gather some more information from them about what they're asking, right? Get some clues and then go and research that and find out. And then after you research it and find it out, I want you to figure out why you didn't know the information. Like, where's the gap? Because the thing is, when you have these these questions that you can't answer. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so this is the other thing I'll tell you. I've done a lot of public speaking. Okay, and I've done a lot of public speaking without notes. Okay, and you've seen people do this before. And I'll tell you that the people, in fact, this is it right now, right? I'm doing a video right now, right? And this is sort of like public speaking without notes, because I don't have any notes, right? I do these videos, I just start talking, okay, for the most part. And I don't have any notes. Sometimes it's a little scatterbrained. But for the most part, I'm able to hold my points and say what I want to say. Why? Because I'm intimately familiar with the subject. So when you understand a body of knowledge, okay, you're able to talk about that, answer questions, speak about that, like answer all of this information about that and talk about it because you've got like a depth of understanding, right? So when you find one of these one-off questions that you don't know the answer to, you need to figure out which boat is it a hole in, right? You see what I'm saying? Like which boat of yours do you don't have this body of knowledge, because you don't want to just one-off find the answer to one of these questions. What you want to do is you want to find the bigger problem. Say, okay, there's a reason, like I couldn't answer this question. Like I did the research, I found the answer to the question, but the reason why I couldn't answer this question was because I don't know about this whole thing over here, this whole system. And that's going to tell you what you need to study, right? And so maybe you go back and you say, well, if I understood this whole system over here, maybe Sally is the expert in this. So I go over to Sally's desk and I say, hey, Sally, you know what? Can I buy you lunch? And can you explain to me how this whole thing works over here, this big whale over here, and just explain in detail. And then you've got this knowledge, okay? You've got this working knowledge, right? They call it domain expertise. You've got this domain expertise, and now not only can you answer that one original question you research, but you can answer all kinds of questions around that because now you're kind of an expert in this, right? A semi-expert, and you know someone to go to for help. You can go to Sally if you need some help. So this is what you got to do, and this is how you develop this expertise, is that, again, you're not fielding these one-off questions, right? You need to develop these bodies of knowledge so that you can talk about these things, right? And that's going to make it so that you can answer a bunch of questions, right? And you're going to have a real understanding, right? And then you can tell the difference, right? I call support people all the time, and it's just such a fucking pain when you know that they're just checking some database and they're giving you some generic set of steps, right? But have you ever been on the phone with someone like that? They totally understand the thing, right? They're like, I get this and I can troubleshoot this, and they're troubleshooting it from their understanding and their knowledge, as opposed to just looking up some stupid steps because they're typing into a search box, what happens when the iPhone sound doesn't work, right? And finding, stupid answers for you that they're just making you go through these steps. There's a huge difference. So you want to be that guy or that gal who has the broad body of knowledge, and that's only going to happen when you figure out questions that you don't know answers to. You take responsibility for not only answering the question, but figuring out what is the body of knowledge that question is attached to, and then making that become something that you study and that you become an expert in. All right, I hope that's helpful to you. If it is, make sure that you click that subscribe button below, click the bell, right, and then click get notifications or whatever it is to make sure you don't miss any videos, because I do about 2 a day. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.